रिव्यू आ नहीं रहा है। You are live on Facebook.
Okay, so let me start right away. I'm sorry for the delay in today's presentation. Let me just introduce myself. I am Aditya Pradhan. I am the Director of Urology and Kidney Transplant and Uro-Oncology at BLK Hospital at New Delhi. And I'm thankful to the IPCA team for putting together this show. In the next 15, 20 odd minutes, I'd like to give a brief survey of what we call a condition in clinical practice called hematuria. So hematuria is what I'm going to be discussing. So what really are we talking about? So hematuria is basically blood, the passage of blood in the urine. Hemat is blood, urea is in the urine. So blood in the urine. Now, hematuria can sometimes be seen by the patient. So there are occasions when I have a patient coming and telling me that he's seen a pinkish urine. Someone comes and tells me that it was dark red, and someone says it's all blood and no urine. So there is variation in the severity of the hematuria. At other times, actually, the patient has other symptoms. They have not seen blood, but they've complained of burning, frequent urination, getting up at night very frequently, and then when you examine them, you find blood which is seen in the microscopic examination of the urine. So, yes, if you look at this slide, normally also you have some blood which gets filtered through the kidney, and that is about 1,000 RBC in 1 ml. But if it goes up beyond that, then you have an abnormal amount of blood in the urine. And this indicates some problem either in the kidney or in the passage. Anything more than 3 RBC means anything more than 3 blood cells, which is seen under the microscope of a urine exam, is considered abnormal. So, one odd cell here and there in a routine examination of the urine in a patient may not be very important. But if it's more, if there's plenty of RBC seen, or if it's more than 3, then we start looking at what exactly is the cause of this. So, why is it important? Well, to give you very briefly an idea, as a urologist, we always look at the presence of blood in the urine as a serious problem. It is to be evaluated. You cannot just leave it unattended to. And we have often seen stories of disasters because of this. Believe me, it's not very uncommon for a patient to have had blood passage for a few days. He visits his practitioner, his GP, or he goes to a chemist and tells him that he's had blood in the urine. Most often, the story is some antibiotic was given, or some painkillers were given, or some syrup was given, and the bleeding stopped. So, after 2 or 3 days, since there is no more blood, both the patient and that his family physician are very happy, and nothing more is done. I can't stress how dangerous this kind of management is, because without knowing what is the cause, it is like treating some headache with aspirin tablet without looking at what was the cause of that blood. So, any person who has seen a definite passage of blood in the urine has to be evaluated. You have to find out what is the cause, where does it come from. The other important thing is that if the patient is saying he's seen the blood, he's seen pink urine, that means that it is a fairly substantial quantity of blood which has passed out. And it definitely points to some pathology, some illness present in the urinary passage. So to me, the first thing when I ask this patient his story is, have you able to seen it? the blood in the urine, or are you just telling me that there was blood in a routine examination report which was done for some other reason? The connotation is quite different. If it was seen, if it was gross, it is more risky. If it is not seen, it was just in a couple of urine reports that there was blood, then it's probably not so severe a problem. The next thing we try to see is that where does the blood come from? Is it from the kidney, bladder, or has it come from the prostate in a male? All these things we try to locate from the history itself. And there are clues there. There are clues in the patient's history which tells me where it has come from. For example, if the patient tells me that along with the blood, there are some clots of blood which are also coming out, and those clots are long, wormy-form clots like a worm, that tells me immediately that the blood is likely to be coming either from the kidney or from the ureter, the tube connecting the kidney with the bladder. So it's likely to be coming from the kidney or in the ureter. But if the patient says, no, these were not the kind of clots I saw some rounded clots, or maybe there was no particular shape. They're just small bits of clotted blood that came out. That kind of blood, that kind of clot is more likely to come from the bladder or from the prostate, from the lower part of the tract. The second thing which we look at is which side did this originate from the blood? From the right kidney or the left kidney? Again, the clues are sometimes given by the patient itself. So what we do is we look at the history when you had the pain, when you had the clot passage. Did you have pain? Did you experience pain? If the patient is very categoric, yes, I did have pain and it was on the right side, or it was in the right lower abdomen, that gives an indicator that there is some problem in the right kidney. But if he says, no, it was on the left side, if it was in the left upper abdomen, then it's likely he has got a problem in the left kidney. So just barely talking to the patient for 5 minutes, picking up these points in the history, you can make out whether there is a right-sided kidney problem, left-sided kidney problem, or is it a bladder prostate problem, or also whether it is a large volume bleed or a small volume bleed. So all this we pick up just by talking to the patient. Next, you physically examine the patient also, and then try to locate what is the cause. So by and large, as I was mentioning to you, any blood in the urine is dangerous. It is very dangerous, and we will need to look at what it has produced this blood. Okay. Now, I also need to point out to you right at the outset that sometimes it's not blood, but there is a discolored urine which the patient sees. On occasion, the urine is high colored. For example, patient is taken a B complex tablet, or he's taken something like, say, tuberculosis medicine. They can produce red urine. And then the patient is very scared that I've got blood in the urine. That is a wrong reading. This is not blood. This is basically only urine discoloration. So when we take the history, I also tend to look back at what medicines the patient is taking, and then be sure that there's nothing spurious. It's not a false history that the patient is giving, but it's actually blood that the patient has seen. Right. So coming back to the point of what produces the blood in the urine. As a urologist, for me, there are three principal causes which I'm concerned with. One, stone. So is there any kidney, bladder, or ureteric stone? Second, is there a tumor? That means is there a cancer in the kidney or in the bladder or in the prostate? And third, in India at least, tuberculosis is one of the important causes for the presence of blood in the urine. So stone, tumor, TB, the three prime reasons why blood can appear in the urine. What we are now, when we are looking at the patient, when we are examining him, when we are evaluating him, we are trying to see from the history and his clinical examination, are any of these three things in this patient? Again, we get clues from the history and exam. I've told you again that which side is from the side which the patient has got pain. Now, suppose the patient has had a stone earlier and now he's got pain and blood in the urine. So it's very likely that he has got a recurrence of stone. However, suppose he has severe burning in the urine. Patient has got passage of clots which are not of much shape, but he has been a chronic smoker for many years. And maybe he has had 1 or 2 episodes of blood in the urine earlier. These may be markers, these may be signs that the patient has got a bladder tumor. Another example will be this patient sometimes gives you history of fever. There is sweating in the evening. There is history of weight loss. When all these things are there and then there is blood which has come out in the last few days, it is possible that this patient has got tuberculosis. These are the ways that we try to judge clinically what is the problem with the patient. At other times,
Sir, your mic is off. Can you unmute the mic?
are you able to hear me? Hello, hello.
Sir, we are able to hear you. Yes, sir.
I lost your connection somewhere. Why is that? Where were we lost?
Sir, etiology.
Internet was.
Oh my God.
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you, sir. Your network.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Your network was. You. Yes, sir.
I lost your connection somewhere. Why is that? Where were we lost?
Sir, the screen was etiology.
Wait a minute. That means you lost me right at the beginning.
We can hear you, sir. Your network. Yes, sir.
So I'll have to start again from this point then. Are you able to hear me now? That means you lost me right at the beginning.
We can hear you, sir. Your.
Hello. So I'll have to start again from this point then. Are you able to hear me now? That means you lost me right at the beginning.
We can hear you, sir. Your.
Hello.
Sir, we can hear you. Yes, sir. Please start.
So I'll have to start again from this point then. Hello. अरे यार. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. You can start, sir. Please.
Okay. Are you able to see my slides?
No, sir. Right now, not able to see the slide.
Okay, I'm rechecking now. What is the problem? Share screen is not come yet.
Uh,
Your internet.
now it is coming, sir.
Okay,
Now we are able to see the screen. Yes, sir.
Microscope.
you're
Yeah.
able to see etiology. Way I had started on etiology.
Yes, sir. You can start on etiology now.
Okay, so as I was trying to say at some point my connection was broken, but here is we are where I think we stopped, which was etiology. Etiology was, as I mentioned, there are three main causes: stone, tumor, and tuberculosis. As a urologist, these are my three main concerns when I am talking to a patient with hematuria. So, this is further elaborated by the patient's history itself. For example, suppose the patient complains of flank pain and he gives me the history that earlier he has passed some stone. Then this presence of pain now and blood in the urine is a likely pointer to stone. However, in an elderly person or say a middle-aged person who has been a smoker for a long time and now starts having burning in the urine and then passage of blood and clots, this is likely to be a tumor in the bladder. In a patient who's got a history of fever and now with weight loss and night sweats comes with burning in the urine and blood, this is likely to be tuberculosis. So, like this, if you examine and take history from patient, you are likely to pick up what is the cause of the bleeding. There is a group of diseases called glomerulopathy, which basically means that the kidney has been damaged by some immunological reactions or diseases like SLE, which have created damage to the filtration mechanism of the kidney, and that is called glomerulopathy. By and large, these are conditions where the blood loss in the urine is not much. There's a small amount of blood loss, and you see definitely some signs of that when the clinical examination, when you see the patient and you look at the urine and the kind of RBC which are seen in the urine. Today's era, there are often conditions where the patient is on anticoagulation. A common scenario for us is an elderly person has been through an angioplasty, and then the cardiologist has put him on 2 or 3 antiplatelets or blood thinners. And the patient is sometimes unaware that he has been on blood thinners for a very long time. And simply removing those blood thinners for a few days settles the hematuria in the urine. So these things are important when you are taking the history from the patient. There are rare causes like when the patient's kidney vessels have been damaged or have created a clot in them has been formed that can produce also a problem of lot of blood in the urine, and we sometimes see this condition in what is called renal cell carcinoma, which is a dangerous tumor of the kidney. At times the condition is innocuous, like a patient has got urinary tract infection, and because of the infection and inflammation in the bladder, he has blood in the urine. So these are the various causes of hematuria, which as a clinician, I try to find the cause and then treat it. Now, when you examine the urine and then you see what is the kind of urine report, from that you can make some judgment of whether the blood is coming from the kidney or from the passage. Here are two examples. There is a lot of protein in the blood, in the urine. There's a lot of protein. 2 plus indicates that it is fairly high protein loss. The RBC are what is called dysmorphic. That means their shape, the blood which is coming in the urine, those blood cells have got a little different shape. When these two findings are there, we are likely to be dealing with a patient who has a kidney disease. He definitely has something like lupus disease or Alport's disease and such other diseases which have produced inflammation in the kidney itself. There are occasions when you do the ultrasound and then you see that there are cysts in the kidney or there are stones. So in these conditions, the urine blood, the blood which is seen under the microscope, is a normal looking RBC. It is not deformed. It is not deformed. So if they are normal looking and then the ultrasound shows these findings, then you are able to correlate, yes, there's another problem in the kidney, there's no inflammation. So how do we evaluate a patient? Having confirmed that there's a lot of blood and it is likely to be a source of from some illness, you do a complete evaluation. And at the outset, we do imaging by either CT or ultrasound. This itself, in 80% of 90% of the cases, you get the cause. So you will see there whether there's a mass in the kidney, or is there a tumor in the bladder, is there a stone, or is there any evidence of tuberculosis. Once you pick up these causes, then you can treat them. For example, if the patient has got a mass in the kidney, we decide on what type of mass it is, whether it can be removed by removing only that small part which is of the kidney which has got the tumor, which is called partial nephrectomy, or is there mass so big that the whole kidney has to come out, then we do what is called radical nephrectomy. If the patient has got a clot coming from a bladder tumor, then obviously that tumor has to come out. We do what is called a biopsy by calling the procedure is called TURBT. And once the report of the biopsy comes, then we decide how further to treat that bladder tumor. If on the CT or ultrasound you find there's a stone, well, then what kind of a stone is it? How large is it? Where in the kidney is it? Is it in the ureter or bladder? Based on this, we decide what type of surgery is to be done. Are we going to do a PCNL, or are we doing a uteroscopic procedure, and so on and so forth. So there are many procedures which are based on the kind of stone, the size of the stone, the location of the stone. If the patient has tuberculosis, well, we put him on tuberculosis medicines, which are very good and can cure the patient in 2 days' time. So when you have these patients who have got only blood in the urine, not seen, microscopic blood, then we look at some pointers in the history. For example, if there is a history of deafness or problem, then it's likely to be a condition called Alport syndrome. If the patient has got blood only after he passes, only after he does exercise, that is classical of a condition called Burgess disease. Or if the patient has got very high protein in the urine and the creatinine is also showing an elevation, it's likely that he's got what is called a membranous glomerulopathy. So these are the ways we are able to find the cause and then treat it. So I'll summarize by saying that never ever get away with the feeling that blood in the urine is minor. Do not ever just take some medicine and then be assuming that there's nothing wrong when the blood is not seen after 2-3 days. Always consult your doctor. Like I've pointed out, there can be serious illnesses behind the story of blood in the urine. Get yourself evaluated and treated, and that will save you a lot of trouble. I hope I've been able to give some uh, clarity on this matter, and I am ready to take on any questions if there are. Thank you so much. Hello. Hello. Hello.
The chat box has the questions, sir. All the questions are on chat box.
All the questions are on the chat box. All right, let me just see those right now. I'll just minimize my thing and I'm not able to see the questions. Are you able to read them?
Yes, sir. In the Zoom, I have sent the questions, sir.
Do stop.
You can do stop sharing, sir, and in the chat box, you should be able to see the questions.
Okay, wait a minute. Just give me 1 minute. I'm not able to access them yet.
You'll have to open Zoom, sir.
I'm stopped the share.
Yes, sir.
And then I'm maximizing the screen. And
Yes.
then on the chat box, I've seen,
Yes.
okay, I've got about 2 or 3 questions. What underlying problems can cause hematuria? That was the first question by Rashi Gupta.
Yes, sir.
So Rashi, I just explained to you the problems. The problems for blood hematuria are many, and they have the most common causes for very gross hematuria is stone, tumor, or TB. So 3 things you remember. The second question asked by the same person, what is microscopic hematuria? Microscopic hematuria is the opposite of macroscopic. What you can see is macro, what you cannot see is microscopic. It basically means that the blood is not seen by the patient, but when a urine exam is done, there is blood there. So Kavya Sharma asked, what type of diet or lifestyle changes need to be made? So Kavya, this is not a lifestyle disease or diet disease. This is a disease indicator. It's a symptom. It's not a disease in itself. I hope I've been able to explain to you. Then what underlying problems can cause hematuria? I think Suman Dev, that's a repetition of what I've just mentioned. Causes of hematuria, Varun Jain. Pretty similar, same question I've answered. Suruchi has asked, what are the complications of hematuria? Well, Suruchi, by itself, hematuria is a symptom, like I told you. It's an indicator that there is some disease there. And what complications? Actually, the complications are of the disease which caused that symptom. sometimes the volume of bleeding is so much that the bladder gets filled with blood. It gets filled with blood and it gets blocked, and that can create problems. At other times, you have blockage of the passage of the kidneys. The ureters get blocked with a clot, and that can produce a big swelling in the kidney. Chandani Kamble has asked pretty much the same question. Underlying causes, I have just answered that. Chandni Kamble again, what can hematuria be caused by stress? The answer is no. The reasons I have explained. Second is Vaidehi Thakur. How common is glomerular hematuria and diabetic nephropathy? Well, good question, Vaidehi. By and large, glomerular hematuria is not associated very commonly in diabetic nephropathy. So if you have hematuria, diabetic nephropathy, it's a pretty advanced stage. Then can pyelonephritis and BPH cause hematuria? The answer, Kishore, is yes. BPH, when the gland is very large, can become inflamed and produce hematuria. In fact, that is one of the common causes. And pyelonephritis to cause hematuria is not uncommon, but it's usually not very large. Pranjal asks, what are the causes of blood? I think I just been through all that, Pranjal. By and large, there are many causes. If it is a large volume blood loss, it is usually from stone, tumor, or TB. So, any other questions? Are they present on any other forum? Hello? Are you hearing my voice?
One more question I have pasted, sir.
One more question has come.
Yes, sir, I've sent it
Poonam Shetty.
from Poonam Shetkar.
I'm trying to see. Hematuria and urinary cancer are interrelated? Well, to some extent, yes. If there's hematuria with burning, then it may point to a bladder tumor. If there's hematuria with large clots causing pain on one side of the kidney, that is a pointer to a tumor in the kidney. So in this way, hematuria can be a pointer to a tumor in the kidney or bladder. Okay, Jogger's hematuria. Well, Pranjal, good question. Jogger's hematuria is usually when the patient has done a long distance strenuous run and he goes to pass urine, there's blood there. Most often it is not related to a severe condition which is underlying. However, it's prudent to check the urine after 1 or 2 days. If it's still showing hematuria, it is a pointer to what is called Burgess disease. So I think we have been through that. Any Kishore's question has been repeated. Can BPH and pyelo cause hematuria? Yes, it can. Prostate enlargement by itself can produce hematuria. Now, medicines producing hematuria, Kishore has asked. Well, by and large, medicines which are blood thinners or which produce reduction in the clotting. An example is aspirin, clopidogrel. These are medications taken by patients who are had previously a stroke or who have been through coronary angioplasty or bypass. They are patients who have been on this medication, and that if the dose is not properly adjusted, it can produce hematuria, yes. Anything else? Any other questions still coming up?
No, sir, that's it.
Right. I hope we were able to convey some messages out of this meeting, and I thank IPCA for organizing this. Thank you very much.